Ever feel like some problems are so big, the solution's got to be huge too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where we're diving in today,
Okay.
looking at Christianity's role in the developing world,
Right.
or maybe its limits. We've got this essay straight to the point. Christianity won't save the third world.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it gets even more provocative.
I can imagine.
Now, before anyone thinks we're on an anti-faith rant here,
Right.
that's not the goal. We're dissecting arguments, not beliefs.
Okay, sure.
So we'll unpack what this author's saying, bring in the historical stuff most folks miss,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe by the end, you're seeing different cultures' successes in a whole new light. Ready for some discomfort?
Always up for a challenge.
Good, because that usually means learning.
Yeah, exactly. This essay, it's not just some random opinion. It taps into this centuries-old debate.
Yeah.
Religion and progress, are they connected?
Yeah, like, does faith lift us up, hold us back, or is it way more complicated?
Exactly. And that's what we're figuring out here.
Love it. So, to be on the same page, when this author says third world,
Right. Got to define terms.
they're using that term kind of loaded from way back Cold War era.
Yeah, it's got baggage.
But it paints a picture, right? Nations still dealing with the aftermath of colonialism.
Struggling to find their place, yeah.
And the author, they're not shy about opinions on that history.
I bet.
But before the real controversial stuff hits, their main point, just becoming Christian, it's not a magic solution for developing nations.
Not that easy, huh?
They say it's more about deep cultural differences, maybe even down to ethnicity, that shapes a nation's path more than religion alone.
Bold claim.
And they use this example, Haiti and Japan, one struggling, mostly Christian, the other, global powerhouse. Not so much emphasis on religion.
Makes you think.
Right. What really drives success, then?
And here's the kicker. This author, they're Christian themselves. They say it straight up. They believe it's the right religion.
Whoa, so it's not even an outsider's critique.
Nope. It's someone saying, hey, we can do better from within the faith.
See, that's what makes it so fascinating. Not attacking faith, but how it plays out in the real world.
Nuance.
They're pushing us past the easy answers, making us deal with history, culture,
Uncomfortable stuff.
maybe even our own biases. Case in point, they use Rhodesia as this example of successful colonialism.
Oh boy, here we go.
They even quote Ian Smith, the prime minister, during white minority rule there,
Right.
claiming colonialism brought civilization to Africa. Bold's one word for it.
That's putting it lightly.
And this is where it gets real thought-provoking, because Rhodesia, that was British control, but a white minority calling the shots over a black African majority.
Not exactly a fair system.
So Smith's whole benefits of colonial rule thing, it ignores what black Africans actually lived through.
History's written by the victors, as they say.
And it shows how easily those narratives get twisted. The author might not mean to, but using Rhodesia reveals a potential bias there, like this belief in Western superiority.
It's there, yeah.
Which brings up a huge point. Even if we disagree on colonialism, the question stands, how much does variety within Christianity itself affect its impact?
Because it's not a monolith, right?
Exactly. They criticize nominal Christianity, people who identify as Christian, but maybe don't live it out fully.
The in-name-only argument.
And their example is pretty stark. African monks stealing money.
Ooh, okay.
Now, does one bad apple spoil the bunch? Debatable.
Very. It's dangerous generalizing from a story like that.
Right, like saying all Americans love baseball just because it's popular.
Exactly. But it seems like the author's saying some cultures just aren't compatible with true Christianity.
And that raises a whole other question.
Lorenzo?
What even is true Christianity? Is it rigid rules, or is there room for blending what they call cultural syncretism?
Right. Mixing traditions.
Christianity itself has changed over centuries, picking up stuff from tons of cultures.
Always evolving.
So it's not static, it's interpreted differently everywhere, which just makes this whole discussion way more complex.
Way more.
Because for every nominal Christian, there's probably someone whose faith is super deep, mixed with their culture in a way that makes both richer.
It's a nuance again.
We got to be careful about judging whole groups. I think we can all agree on that at least.
100%. It's about looking deeper. And that's kind of what leads us to the author's solution.
Ah,
Well, sort of. They point to the Ethiopian Tewahedo Church
okay.
as this model for authentic African Christianity.
Hold on, so they want Western Christians taking cues from Ethiopia. What's so special about this specific church?
Buckle up, the history's wild.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest Christian churches, like period, predates colonialism in Africa by a long shot.
Wow, seriously.
Yeah, so unlike a lot of places where Christianity came with colonizers, Ethiopia was different. They embraced it way earlier, wove it into their culture on their own terms.
Huh. That's a huge difference.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. The author, who's coming from an Orthodox perspective, admits that the Tewahedo Church, their beliefs are kind of outside mainstream orthodoxy.
Wait, they're recommending a church they think is theologically different?
It seems contradictory, right?
Yeah.
But it gets at something deeper. They're drawn to that unique history. This is an indigenous African church, untouched by the West, in their view.
So less about specific beliefs, more about cultural purity.
You could say that. They even imagine this whole thing. Ethiopia, back to a monarchy, becomes this Pan-African empire, spreading this kind of Christianity.
Well, hold up empires again.
It's a romanticized idea, right?
Hmm.
Powerful, independent Africa, but guided by this specific type of faith.
We went from colonialism to cultural identity to what even is real faith. A lot to unpack.
Right. And I'm not sure the author has it all figured out either.
Which is fine. We're not about easy answers here, more like stretching our brains a bit.
Exactly. This isn't about agreeing, but about thinking critically. Maybe even realizing our own worldview has blind spots.
I love that. Even if we push back on some of their points, and oh boy, are there some,
Yeah.
it gets us asking the important stuff, like, are we only seeing this through our cultural lens? And can we even talk about authentic Christianity when it's been through so much history, power struggles, cultures mixing?
You got it. This goes way past just Christianity in one part of the world.
Yeah.
It's how we all approach these huge, messy topics, whatever our beliefs are.
Seeing our blind spots, right?
Exactly. Questioning what we think is a given. Being open to ideas that maybe make us uncomfortable.
Isn't that where real growth happens? Outside that comfort zone?
100%. Agree or disagree with this author, at least we're thinking harder.
Totally. And even if we push back on some of their, well, let's call them strong opinions.
Yeah, there were a few.
It gets us asking, how much does our own background shape how we see religion's role in the world? Can we even talk about authentic anything without the whole history, the power dynamics, how cultures blend together?
You hit the nail on the head. This essay, it's about more than just Christianity in the developing world. It's about how we approach complex issues, regardless of our beliefs. It's a call to recognize our biases, question our assumptions, and be open to different perspectives.
And that's where the real learning happens, right? Even if it makes us a little uncomfortable. So whether you found yourself agreeing with the author or completely disagreeing, I hope this deep dive gave you a lot to think about.
Absolutely. The relationship between religion, culture, and development is far from simple. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, no magic solution.
It's complex, it's messy, and it's interconnected with so many other factors. And those are exactly the kind of conversations we need to be having.
It requires nuance, critical thinking, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. And honestly, that's a conversation worth having, even if it challenges our deeply held beliefs.
Couldn't agree more. So, as you go about your day, here's something to ponder. If a society's success isn't solely determined by religion, what are those other driving forces? History, culture, economics, individual choices, they all play a part. Until next time, keep asking those tough questions.